unity so important? The unity word. Never mind the heavy atom that governs all of us inside our minds. One big heavy atom. But it's the unity that is so important. Now I've finished making this. It's taken me a few days, weeks. And there we are, final result. Been absolutely fun making this, but there is more to the point, which we're going to go into now. So why is Unity so special? Well, it's not all about building a spacecraft that everybody can leave the planet. It's not just about building underground farms so that all of our food is safe. It's not just about making, sun chasers so that we are turning our salt water into fresh water and storing it. It's not all about going to Europa and start extracting the water from the moons of Jupiter and saving it for a rainy day. Rather fitting, wouldn't you think? No. This is the reason for Unity. Look, if you can't do it on your own planet and mix the races together where everybody comes together, that's what I'm on about. You see? Here, let me give you an example, okay? So, I'm going to have to do this rather long-winded, but not. Let me give you the point. So, we've got a civilization living on this planet over here. And we've got a civilization living on a planet over here, okay? So we have A and B. Here we've got civilization A and we've got civilization B. Now, naturally, from their planets, let's just say we're going to pluck a number out, 1.5 billion years, okay? So in 1.5 billion years, the whole species on this planet, there are life forms on this one and there are life forms on this one. But at 1.5 billion years, the whole species on this planet would be wiped out if they do nothing about their fate. What do I mean by do nothing about their fate? It would be like a snail is not going to stop an asteroid hitting the Earth, is it? Come on, who's your money going to be on? A caterpillar, a rhinoceros, a lion? Who do you think will protect us from a meteorite? Well, us. We will protect ourselves from something like that. So when you are intelligent enough to know this, here's a lot here. And 1.5 billion years, let's say, this side would be wiped out if they both do nothing about their fate. However, you've got to have a level of unity. You can't just have one species leave here. Never mind Noah's Ark. Let's try building Noah's Craft. What's that? Noah's spacecraft, where all of the animals and species go on 2 by 2. I think that's a little bit less. I think it's all animals that you can get, and it's all humans and all races and all of nature should get on Noah's Craft. And if you're non-religious, the universal craft, the humanity craft. Anyway, why is this so important that we unity and unify on this planet right now? Let me show you. So the distance between these two is mega. It is huge. It would take a long time for these species to ever meet. But they do have species on there that are intelligent enough to build a craft where all things go onto the craft, or into, in a train, on a bike. Interesting. And this side builds the craft. And they all leave with their species, nature, and everything else, right? Excuse me. And let's say that they would say that there is no other life forms out there. Man, how do we even accept this when this planet is so infested with life? I can't even dig the soil without finding tons of life. Look around. Look how much life there is. It's abundant on this planet. We are not the only ones. Gotta say that straight up. We are not the only ones. I think this whole universe is infested with life. But there are a few life forms that do something about their fate. Now, anyway, let's pop the hat back on because I feel a bit more comfortable with it. Oh, there we are. So, these species are going to move, and these species are going to move. And what they're going to do is they're going to leave, okay? And these ones are going to leave. outmaneuver this ticking time bomb here. So when they get here, this is 3 billion years, both of them 3 billion years, okay? And they leave. They have already, whether you want to talk about natural or unnaturally, they have already left. They have escaped extinction. And this one has now escaped extinction because they've now traveled away, and so's this one. What's more, they took nature with them, they took animals with them, and they took every single species with them. So did this one, so did this one, and so did this one. Look, just really quickly for a psychology lesson, let's go for it, shall we? If you meet a life form, just a life form, okay? And they had other species on their planet, but they just left, you know? That would be like humans just leaving and not taking animals with them or nature, because we can do it all via fusion and we make our own fusion processes and everything else. If we do this, we will go extinct. You will go extinct. Everybody will go extinct. And everyone can rest assured that life won't go on because you would have made the biggest mistake of your lives. Why? So it'd be like this. If only NASA left, or British monarchs only left into space, and they left us all here. And nature, and they did it all via nuclear fusion and mixing all of this, and they could make their own meat and design their own foods and everything else, and just their own one species just leaves. You'll be extinct. Literally. Number one, if I came across a species that was just on their own, I would aim all my cannons at you and I would annihilate you. I'd blow you up completely, just eradicate you. Why? Well, selfishness in the universe does not do. So if another life form sees you on your own and they have taken all of their nature, all of their animals, and they removed all of their species off the planet, did they leave anybody behind to die? No. Did they selflessly leave and take everybody else with them? Or did they selfishly leave? You know, after life supports life. You know, trees support us. Yes, nature supports us. Even animals, when you touch them, isn't that a good feel-good factor? So there's lots of goodness coming from this, and yet we sit here taking constantly from nature, we take constantly from animals, and then we leave them to a very grim fate. Doesn't this show something about our character? But what's more is if you see a species that took all of their animals, wow, then it shows that they had to look after them all the time, which is very nice, right? They took all races with them. Isn't that very nice that they took all of their races? That means that they cared more about everybody on the planet. Unity, unity, and unity. And they took all life forms from the planet, the whole lot. Which one would you join with if you were an alien race? And it's very important that we join. We'll get to that in a minute, but this is where we're going. Please stick around. You do not want to miss this. Eye-opening? Enlightenment? Interesting. This is very interesting. So if you see a species that took all their animals, if you joined them and it came life or death situation, hey, guess what? They got your back because they know how to be together and unify. It's very important that we understand this, and very quickly. Or you find a species that are just on their own. Just them. No, nothing else. Are you going to join with them? Knowing that they left another form behind? Are you really going to join with them? Because when push comes to shove, they'll push you under the bus. Why? Well, because if they did it on their own planet, you ain't going to be nothing to them when it comes to push comes to shove. Save me? Nah. Or save you? Nah. That's going to be me, isn't it? Because, you know, we're selfish. Right? So if you are an intelligent life form, you're going to be looking out for these visual cues, because you don't want to have got all this way after 3 billion years and meet someone selfish that are going to take all of your technology from you, that are going to take all of your stuff away from you. They don't care about you. They didn't even care about their own life forms on their planet. So you ain't going to be nothing to them. Whether you believe in extraterrestrials, we're not using the A word here. Keep believing in ghosts, okay? It's not aliens, it's ghosts, all right? Okay. So 3 billion years and 3 billion years, both life forms with all of their creatures, all of their races, are happily on board in their created Earth, inside their geodes. Now, let's say at 6 billion years, give that a B. Looks like 66. There we go. And give that one a B. 60, yeah, let's say 6 billion years. They're here. So they're getting closer and closer to meeting each other. Now, the eureka-ness happens when you meet each other. Why? Well, let me get there. This is beautiful. You're not going to want to miss it. And then 9 billion years, they almost crash into each other. They always crash into each other. And as a result of this, no one died. No one dies. They actually miss. By a miracle, they miss. Okay? And then they're thrown into each other. Right here. And when they're thrown into each other, they haven't got time to get to battle stations. They haven't got time to worry about grabbing cannons. No, no, no. No, they're now awestruck because they thought that they were the only ones. They asked the question, are we the only ones? Are we the only ones? You know? No. Then they find out right here. And if we aren't the only ones, is other life forms out there hostile? Yes, some are. Some are not. And what a contrast that you meet the mirror image of yourselves. And in the middle here, they didn't crash. No casualties. I mean, wow, isn't this a beautiful universe that could actually happen? No casualties whatsoever. And they're awestruck that they've just found other life forms that are just like them. And they have nature, and we have nature too. Oh no, do we? Oh, wow, wow. Now that's not the magic. The magic is now coming. So we don't know about cross species and everything else like that. So let's just dive into nature quickly. We're not going to talk about cross species of, let's say we find an alien and humans breed with the alien and create a new offspring on another planet somewhere. There's no way I'd have them on my ship. I would need to see how they behave first. So I would maroon them on a planet that was, you know, pretty much good for their conditions. And I'd leave them with things like nature, a few little things over here, a little clue, is it or isn't it? You know, who knows? And then I would watch from a distance. And why would this be important that I would watch? Well, because then, you know, if I watched further away, I would be able to know their true colours, how they respond. And how they respond to each other will be exactly, because remember, if you take the worst parts of humanity and the best parts, and you meet another life form and you take their worst parts and their best parts, you're kind of amplifying either the worst parts or the best parts. Do you see? And to have this on your ship, it's just an experiment that could go completely wrong. And the life forms could be really, really toxic, really destructive. That is not beneficial for your survival. And after 9 billion years, you know, you've come a long way. You were supposed to be extinct at 1.5 billion years, but you decided to do something about your fate, traveling for 3 billion, then another 3 billion, asking lots of questions, thinking, excelling your technologies, excelling hospitals, excelling medical science and everything else. Along the way, learning things, thinking, more deep thought, storytelling. Ooh, it's all happening on the geodes. And then when you meet each other, you know, love's love, isn't it? Love is love. It doesn't matter whether you love a man. It doesn't matter whether two women love each other. It doesn't matter whether a man or woman loves each other. Love is love, right? Love is love. And it's better to have it than not, wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree? Love wins the day. Anyway, so we're going back to this nature thing. Now I got a green pen, so I should really do this in green. So I'm going to lose the blue one for a minute, even though that is my favorite color. It's actually not my favorite color. Red is my favorite color, but now we're getting off topic. But look, so they have nature, and so do we. Let's say we. Let's say we. This is us. This is an us situation. And this nature here knows an awful lot. But their nature from over here, the origins, and our nature from over here is a different makeup to one another. Now, when you breed these both together, the two different types of nature, there are a lot of wonderful things that happen. Let me give you number one. So if we take this nature, combine it with this nature to create something very new, you now have three, right? So you now got the power of three. You now have the original here, and now you have the new one here. This is now the new one. Now, think of the berries, the fruits, the food, and think of the nutrients that this one knows. So this one has a different makeup. So this one has a different makeup. And between the two of them, you know, this one knows a lot about this stuff here because that's where it comes from. And the other one, on the other side, knows something completely different. But has this missing bit in the middle. Like, you know, it's half and half. And when two halves come together, you create something brand new. But is that the end of it? Like where you now have a mix of this, and you also now have a mix of this one. Looks like a little brain, doesn't it? It's pretty cool. So, you know, you've got one side that knows all how to do this, and its evolution, and it's evolved under this lifestyle, under these circumstances over here, which are completely different to the circumstances that happened over here. And thus for both sides built a different portfolio, knew how to do things, X, Y, Z. And when you combine them together, you now create something new. But it doesn't stop there. This whole thing runs away and keeps on running away. So you now have the original one, and you have the original other, and now you have this new one. But it doesn't stop there, because now you combine this one with this one, which will give you something even more different. And then you combine this one now with this one, and now you have something even more different. And then you now combine this different one with this different one. You see where this is going already? Just like stars, hydrogen and helium. You know, what these are creating would not have been naturally made in the universe. Why? Well, why? Why would they never be natural? Because this place was way too far over here, and this one was way too far over here to even mix. Plus, you've got the time limit of 1.5 billion years, and it's all game over. And this one, 1.5 billion years, and then it's all game over. But the natural beings did something unnatural and travel the universe and do something about their fate. And this side did the exact same thing and did something about their fate, therefore jumping the death line. They should have been extinct a long time ago, but didn't. And they carried on going. And they kept going, and then they met up with another one. And then they decided to mix their natures together. And therefore, rather than living longer, so you know, it's pretty proven, isn't it? That if you eat lots of nature, you live longer. You become healthier. You become more fit, let's say. Your body is able to do a lot more things than someone that is unhealthy and that is not eating right. So when you then mix these two goodnesses together, do you think it's impossible then that the species would then be eating this new veg, new fruit, new berries, new nature, and they begin to eat it, that it makes them live longer, both sides? Both sides begin to live longer. Why? Well, because you've now got the best of both worlds. Ever heard that saying? Best of both worlds? When you combine them? Wow! Now you start to live for 200 years. And that's not all. That's not all. What about the gases you're now breathing? They will be completely different, new makeup. Nature's probably thinking, if only I had knew this, 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 and this. And this one's probably thinking, if only I knew that, 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 and that. And what happened was an unnaturalness of us traveling and combining and unifying the two wonders to create something new. And then you start to combine the new stuff with the old stuff to create even more new stuff. And now you've got something else forming out. And now you've got something else forming from this. And then you can then combine this one now with this one, because it's completely different. And then you'll create something else from that. And then this one can combine with that one. And then you've got something else. But it doesn't stop there, because then you can combine this one back with this one to create something else that is different. And then you can combine this one with this one and create something else that's different. Think of the berries, think of the oxygen, think of the saturation. You know, we've got receptors in here. We've got receptors all over us, right? But we just don't know what they're for. What does that do? I don't know. Yeah, let's just bury it under a carpet because we don't know. Yeah, I'm telling you, it comes from this. It's almost like the universe knows. And why does it know? Because, well, it knows what it's creating, does it not? Or transforming. And it knows how it's going to transform. What came first? The thought of the universe or the universe? Binary. Combining the binaries gives you something very unique that you can then recombine with something else. And then that creates something new. And then you can combine that with the older stuff, which then creates something new. And now combine that with the last older stuff. Do you see how this starts to go? So if we were to do this on a little bit more of a different chart, let me see if I can bring that down a bit. Oh, got a little bit of jacket in there. Come on, stay behind. That's it. So it'd look a little bit something like this then. So you have the first half of one, and you combine it with the other half of the other to create something completely new. Okay? And then these will be combined from this side being this, and this side being this. Okay? And this one combines with each other to create this new one. And then this new one can now combine with this one to create something even more unique. And then, you know, this one can be combined with this one, and thus for create something else that is unique. And you can keep on going. Now combine these two together, and then you create something else that is unique. And now this one, which is totally different to these, could be combined back with these. Yes? Which then will combine into something else that is different. And then this one can be combined into this one, and then you get something else that is now different. The berries, the food, the understanding, the oxygen, it's just so wonderful. And this is why unity is so important. Not because it's a beautiful picture of a heavy atom that governs us all. No. Not because it just looks pretty. No. Not because it sounds nice, you know, and it's got nothing to do. Unity comes from this. And we haven't even started talking about the species yet. I'm not saying that we should go and breed with dogs and all sorts of different things like that, because I don't think that's kind of going to work. Is it? You know, it really won't. But I think if you find something that is a bit more similar, so you find another cat like in their species have cats, and in this species has a form of cat, would it be impossible to breed them? I don't think it would. I think this cross-speciation, because they are really far, they're so unique from one another, that I think the evolution chain plays and activates, and it knows then that we are now knowing it. And it will cause an evolving rate. See, I can't even get these words out sometimes. Worms? Words! Anyway, I don't like my attitude. Anyway. And this constant combining ratio, could you imagine how different it would be? Where would your hierarchy sit? How would you become more? You would do something that would reign supreme compared to other life forms or species out there that had just left their Earth. And if they were hostile and you weren't, and you found another group that you unified with, and then you started creating gases and foods that would never naturally form in a natural sort of way, because it's within the nature, the grand scheme of natural. And then let's plan this a little bit more. So what about if they had super technology and you had super technology, i.e. computers, and they knew this much this way? where humanity never thought of this, ever, and where we thought of things this way, which was completely different, and then we combine technology together. What do you think would happen? The technology is now combined, and now you have a brand new type of technology that excels primitive witches, i.e. us sat on the planet right now. We're primitive, very primitive. You can't do this without combining species. You can't do this without unifying with yourselves first. If I was an alien race and I was very advanced and I'd already unified with several other species and this was very successful, and I was peering down on Earth, watching everyone blow each other up, look at the way they treat each other, murdering each other, causing all sorts, cutting down trees and disrespecting nature, not doing anything to safeguard them. Are you going to go and unify with that if you were these? No, you wouldn't. You'll just leave straight away and get as far away from them as possible. Or you would make it so they never left. And if they did leave, well, they would become a threat to your very existence. Would you allow them to carry on? Or would you run the risk that they might one day leave and cause disruption within the universe, knowing that they will be no match to you? Literally, if you had done all of this and started combining different things like this, and then different types of thinking then come together, and then you meet another species that did the same, and another lot of species, and you all started to combine this, how far would your medicine go? How far would your understanding of death be? Pretty sure that across the board, no matter the thing that will make us uniquely the same with all other species is this: they don't want to die, literally. And I wonder if all of them have been thinking ways to try and cheat this. And until you combine all of this knowledge together, I think you're going to get the eureka of, you're able to cheat it. I wouldn't say cheat it. I'd be able to say you would be able to no. You would be able to make avatars and place in the bit that makes you you and transform it and transfer it into your created avatar. Do I want 10 arms? Well, yes, I do. I really do want 10 arms. Okay, then, here you go. Would you like to be able to go underwater and still be able to breathe? Why, yes, I would. I'm going to include this into my avatar because your technology is so advanced. So therefore, you know, you're on your last leg and suck out your soul and pop it into another avatar already and waiting to go. Wouldn't that be brilliant? You'd never die. Eternal life, says I. I would like to have some of that. But I think we squander our chances when we sit there and we disrespect the planet that we're on. Wow. We disrespect each other. Interesting. We blow each other up. If you can do this to each other, and I was an alien race, and I was watching all of this, forget it. You forget it. I would not come and join with that, because that's a reflection of how it would be for me. Wouldn't it? And I would not have this disruption on my geode at all. And I'm pretty sure that when I say it, and the leader of the other side, and everyone who is in it, we all are leaders. And when we all discuss this and see this, we will all come to a unanimous, but I guarantee a collective decision. And it would be that we are going to bypass you. Why? I wouldn't want to bring that on my ship, thank you very much. And therefore, we would make sure that no one would leave the planet. We'd ensure it. We would safeguard to make sure that this would never threaten our existence, because we worked hard to get to this. We worked extremely hard. And then I'd have to ask the question that if our technology was that good, could we create avatar humans? No, isn't that a question? Isn't that a question? So, before the whole planet turns into a hell infernal, yes? So until the earth starts to cook and it starts to remind you of hell and burning and everything else, I too would probably start reaching for the heavens. Wouldn't you? You don't even need to stop here. What about technology? Okay, what about medicine? What about medicine? Oh, they know this much. Once again, the other side knows something completely different to what you do. Stuff that you never, ever were able to achieve, they did achieve. And the stuff that they couldn't achieve, you achieved. And then you combined. Look at that. Medicine. Weaponry, same thing. I guarantee you, they would not use this. Wouldn't you make the rule yourself that you would not use this unless you absolutely had to? And considering that if all life started the same way in this anarchy and in this disruption, in this tribes, it all started out, they came a very long way to come together. And then we came a very long way to come together. Wouldn't you think that you would want to safeguard this in any means necessary? Therefore, wouldn't you know that your knowledge would be so much more? Your understanding would be so much more? When you start to do what the universe is doing, i.e. hydrogen makes helium. And no, with the nature, none of these elements that it makes or gases that it makes are cooked up inside a star. They came from combining the life, which then created new types of elements that would not naturally form in the universe. Why? Well, because, you know, you would have to do something very unnatural of this combinating, and unifying, which then you brought a piece of this over here, you took a piece of that from over there, you took a piece of this from over here, you took a piece of that one from over here, because you all unified and then created something totally unique that in the universe, because of the sheer distance, would never, and I do mean never, ever get cooked up inside any star. And therefore, you reign supreme. So, all of that done, that is all finished, because, you know, that's where I'm going to leave this, because I think it's fun if I leave it here and you go and venture off down this wormhole and do some thinking yourself, or rabbit hole, either or, and then you come to it. Think, what did I miss? What have I missed? And put it in. Go and think about this for yourself. Why? Because I think you'll come to some very, very interesting discoveries. And I think it's healthy that we start to think like this. I love thinking like this all of the time, but there you go, that's just me. But I see something very different. And this is why, for me, unity is very important. Very, very important. I just find that we're weirdly born into a world where war is acceptable. I don't think it is. Anywhere. At all. Lies for war, we should tell the truth for peace, hey? That was a good quote that somebody said, and I can't remember who it was. If you know, write it down in the comments, because, yeah, it's important to spread that. I don't know who said that, but it sounds very, very true, doesn't it? That we go to war for very stupid things. Because I want to take this. Man, I'd be careful, because who's watching us? Who is watching us behave like this? Do we need to take, or can we come together and combine what we got? And then we start stopping with this war. I think we've got more important things to be doing, really, haven't we? Such as getting our food underground before next year gets here, and we start cooking a bit more, and the year comes next, and the next year, and the next year. I definitely think that we need to start doing something about our fate rather than worrying about war situations. It's very strange to me. It's very strange. It seems indoctrination to me. But there we are. There you go. This is my video. So that's why unity is so important to me. This is why. Yeah. Not because of greed or control or anything like that. No. This is my bigger fish to fry, and it's coming together like this. Unity. Unity. So, you know, this is where I'm at so far with that. So I thought I'd share it with you, but I would love your opinion on it. Come on. Well, what do you think? What type of things would you combine? I mean, first knowledge, sure. Medicine, okay. Nature, Species, Would you have that on your ship? Got that question for you. Would you have this experiment on your ship, or would you go and find a planet somewhere that was in a good zone, and you would create it into a habitat that was good for this new cross species that you've got, and you would leave them all there and just watch how they are? Because remember, your worst days and your best ones, and therefore what you combine with their worst days and their best days, the balance of that, which way will it go? Will it go good and the good rises and the bad falls off? Or will it go destructive and very bad and the good disappears? Because, you know, having it that way, where the good disappears and the bad comes on your ship, your geode, would you have it? Probably not. And if it went good, well, that's a risk. That's a risk that I would not take. I most certainly would not. And I guarantee you, I speak on behalf of everybody involved in any geodes. We would think the same thing. And we would come to the same conclusion, because that's what unity is about. Not loyalty, where it's one way. No. Unity, where it's both ways. Give and take. Give as you take. This is a beautiful thing. I love thinking. Anyway, have a good day. Cheerio!